A privileged upbringing, the early life of Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was born on November 30th, 1874, at Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire, a grand estate that symbolized the wealth and status of his family. He was born into a life of privilege, surrounded by opulence and the trappings of high society. His family, the Spencer Churchills, were among the most prominent in Britain, with a lineage that traced back to nobility and influence. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a charismatic politician known for his fiery speeches and ambitious nature, which left a lasting impression on young Winston. Churchill's early education was typical of his class, characterized by strict discipline and a classical curriculum. He attended Harrow School, one of England's most prestigious public schools, where the sons of the elite were groomed for leadership. He was a bright but often rebellious student, known for his independent spirit and reluctance to conform to the rigid school system. He struggled with some subjects, particularly mathematics, but excelled in history and English, subjects that would shape his future endeavours. Churchill's passion for language blossomed early as he developed a keen interest in the power of words and rhetoric. He developed a love for writing, spending hours crafting essays and stories, a skill that would later become one of his greatest assets. This would later serve him well in his political career, where his eloquence and command of language would inspire and mobilize nations. After Harrow, Churchill attended the Royal Military College, Sandhurst, where he trained to become an officer in the British Army. He graduated from Sandhurst and in 1895, ready to embark on a military career that would take him to distant lands. He embarked on a military career, serving in India and Sudan, where he gained first-hand experience of the complexities of the British Empire. These experiences exposed him to the wider world, broadening his horizons and deepening his understanding of global politics. They also fueled his ambition and his sense of adventure as he sought to make a name for himself and prove his worth on the world stage. During his time in the military, Churchill began writing dispatches from the front lines, which were published in newspapers back home, earning him recognition as a talented writer and a keen observer of military affairs. His early books, such as The Story of the Malakand Field Force, chronicled his experiences and showcased his ability to capture the drama and intensity of military life. These writings not only bolstered his reputation, but also hinted at his burgeoning political ambitions as he began to envision a future beyond the battlefield. Upon his return to England, Churchill transitioned from military service to politics, leveraging his experiences and his eloquence to carve out a place for himself in the political arena. His early political career was marked by determination and resilience, as he navigated the challenges of the political landscape and steadily rose to prominence. The early life of Winston Churchill laid the foundation for a legacy that would leave an indelible mark on British history and the world. The political stage, Churchill's ascent to power. In 1900, at the age of 26, Churchill entered politics. This marked the beginning of a long and storied career that would see him rise to the pinnacle of British political life. He won a seat in Parliament as a member of the Conservative Party. His entry into the House of Commons was just the first step in what would become a remarkable journey. Churchill was a gifted orator. His ability to captivate an audience with his words was unparalleled, and he quickly became known for his powerful speeches. His speeches were passionate and full of wit. He had a unique ability to blend humor with serious political discourse, making his addresses both entertaining and impactful. He quickly made a name for himself in the House of Commons. His sharp intellect and eloquence set him apart from his peers, and he was soon recognized as a rising star in British politics. He served in various government positions in the following years. Each role he took on added to his experience and reputation, preparing him for the challenges that lay ahead. Churchill was appointed First Lord of the Admiralty in 1911. This was a significant position, placing him in charge of the Royal Navy at a crucial time in history. This put him in charge of the Royal Navy in the critical years leading up to World War I. His leadership during this period was instrumental in shaping the Navy's readiness for the conflict. Churchill was a vocal advocate for naval expansion. He understood the importance of a strong navy in maintaining Britain's global influence and security. He believed that Britain needed a strong navy to protect its interests. His foresight in this regard was crucial as the world was on the brink of a major conflict. His warnings about the growing threat of Germany were largely ignored. Despite his efforts to alert the government and the public, many did not take his concerns seriously. When war broke out in 1914, Churchill was prepared. His prior efforts to strengthen the Navy paid off, and he was ready to take on the challenges of wartime leadership. He threw himself into the conflict with characteristic energy. His dedication and commitment to the war effort were evident in everything he did. However, the disastrous Gallipoli campaign in 1915 tarnished his reputation. The failed operation was a significant setback for Churchill, both personally and professionally. He resigned from the Admiralty and joined the army on the Western Front. Despite the setback, Churchill's resilience shone through as he continued to serve his country in a different capacity, demonstrating his unwavering dedication to the war effort. The gathering storm Churchill navigates the path to war. After World War I, Churchill returned to politics. He held a number of cabinet positions throughout the 1920s and 1930s. He was a vocal critic of the appeasement policies of Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain. Churchill believed that Chamberlain's attempts to appease Adolf Hitler were folly. He argued that Britain should stand firm against Nazi Germany's aggression. His warnings fell on deaf ears. Many in government saw him as a warmonger. As Germany grew bolder, Churchill's stature grew. His warnings about the Nazi threat seemed increasingly prescient. Public opinion began to shift in his favor. When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, Britain declared war. Chamberlain resigned as Prime Minister. Winston Churchill, the man who had warned against this very moment, was appointed his successor. A steadfast leader. Churchill's Britain during World War II. Churchill rallied the nation during its darkest hour, providing a beacon of hope and resilience. His leadership was a crucial element in maintaining British morale and determination. He refused to negotiate with Hitler, standing firm against the tyranny and oppression that threatened to engulf Europe. His unwavering stance was a testament to his belief in freedom and democracy. He vowed to fight for Britain's survival no matter the cost. His speeches, filled with passion and conviction, inspired millions to stand up and resist the enemy. Churchill's words were not just rhetoric, they were a call to action, a rallying cry for a nation under siege. We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. These iconic words encapsulated the spirit of defiance and determination that Churchill instilled in the British people. His words resonated throughout Britain and beyond, reaching the ears of allies and enemies alike. Churchill's speeches were broadcast across the globe, reinforcing the resolve of those fighting for freedom and justice. Churchill worked tirelessly to build a coalition against Germany, understanding that unity was essential for victory. He forged alliances with other nations, bringing together a diverse group of countries to stand against the Axis powers. He secured vital aid from the United States, recognizing the importance of American support in the war effort. This aid came in the form of supplies, military equipment, and eventually troops, which bolstered the Allied forces. He formed a close alliance with President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a partnership that would prove crucial in the fight against tyranny. Their relationship was built on mutual respect and a shared vision for a post-war world founded on peace and cooperation. He also recognized the threat posed by Japan, understanding that the conflict was not confined to Europe alone. Churchill's strategic foresight allowed Britain to prepare for the broader implications of the war. Churchill provided support to China, acknowledging the importance of aiding allies in the Far East. This support was part of a broader strategy to weaken the Axis powers on multiple fronts. He prepared for the possibility of war in the Pacific, ensuring that Britain was ready to face challenges wherever they might arise. This preparation was crucial in maintaining a global perspective on the war effort. His wartime leadership was instrumental in the Allied victory. Churchill's ability to inspire, strategize, and lead was a key factor in the eventual defeat of the Axis powers. His legacy as a wartime leader remains a testament to the power of steadfast resolve and unyielding courage.